Hey, so thank you so much for joining me. I know for many of you, this is probably not your first webinar or first opportunity to learn about something new or new ways to make money. However, if you failed at things like this before in the past, I'm here to tell you you can do this and earn extra income with the knowledge you already have. So if you see a glare in my glasses, please excuse that. And then also, if you've been following me for a while, I've already mentioned that my youngest has autism, so it's highly likely that you'll hear her playing in the background. But back to what I was saying, even if you've gone to college and worked extremely hard, if you still live check to check, I understand how frustrating that can be because I was in that exact situation. So that's pretty much what I'm here to talk about. I had a dream to make my family more financially stable without taking more time from them. And I want to show you how I made that happen. Be sure to stay around to the end for a free link to some free resources to help you get started today. So my goal for this webinar is if you're a beginner and never thought about earning your own income outside of a job, I want to let you know that you have the potential to do so and often make more than what you would make at your current salary. And if you're experienced with trying to make side income or have tried to make money outside of your job before, I'll show you easier ways to scale so you can make more income without working more hours. So just a little background on myself. I have my master's in accounting and worked as a senior accountant. I taught accounting courses online and then was also working on my PhD to become a full-time professor. So in doing all of that, you can just imagine how overwhelming that is. So just more about me. One day I was sitting at my kitchen table. The pot was already boiling over because I was cooking dinner. My youngest was screaming. My oldest wanted to color, and I had my own assignment due at midnight. I was trying to sit there and finish a task for my regular job, finish grading all the papers that I had from the class that I was teaching, and then also finish writing my own. When I say I was completely overwhelmed, and then on top of that, I found out that I had overdrafted my account again. It was late in the evening. I had bills to pay, so I could have screamed. I literally started crying. On top of that, it was the middle of the month, and I had bills to pay. So can you imagine how embarrassed I was having to call my parents again to say I needed help with money? And then also being extremely frustrated because I have my degree, I supposedly have a good job, I'm teaching on the side, I'm going back to school so I can become a full-time professor and increase my salary again. I was pretty much at my wit's end because working those jobs and doing all those extra things, what else could I possibly be doing to make the situation better? So in being frustrated, I started praying about it a lot. God, I don't want to be in this situation. God, I want to be able to earn more money without working harder. And those was really what I said. And in that journey and trying to figure out what to do, a friend of mine started talking about how you can really make life what you want it to be. There are so many different Bible verses talking about how you can make your request known to God, anything you can ask or think when 2 or 3 are joined together in my name. So he really talked about deciding what you want and then taking the steps to get there. And even if you don't know the specific steps, keep praying about what it is that you want and ask God for guidance, and you'll receive that. Another thing I found on my journey was a man talking about the lottery ticket. He talked about how sometimes the lottery can go for a few $100 million, and the average person doesn't feel like they're worth having that much money. However, once they go buy a $2 lottery ticket, then they feel they're worth that and so much more. Oftentimes, only after buying a lottery ticket does anybody feel like they're worth that much money. But the gist of his story was a $2 lottery ticket doesn't make you worth $300 million. Instead, you were worth that amount of money before you even bought the ticket. So instead of paying the $2 to believe in yourself and to believe that you're worth that much, just know that you're worth that much already. You are already a knowledge monetizer. Anything that you know, you take it on these jobs and use it to your advantage. If you get on a job and you don't know what to do, they train you. So you're taking that information, learning it, and then pushing forward with whatever task they're giving you. So keep that in mind. You are already a knowledge monetizer. You just need to learn a different way to use that superpower. So in keeping that same thought, relaying back to me, I was already creating courses since I was teaching online. But the platform, to be honest, it was whack. It was outdated. There were no pictures. Everything was just black and white text. It was completely boring. So as an instructor, most of my students would comment how I was their favorite teacher because I made things easy to understand and made it relatable to what was going on today. So I started applying that to what I wanted to do with my business. I did the exact same thing, creating courses, but instead of doing it with the platform that I was working for, I started creating them with my Gmail features. I made the same content since I was an accounting instructor, but the content was pretty and easier to understand with videos. I would take a difficult concept, break it down into a short video so they could understand the different building blocks that they needed before getting overwhelmed with just so much text and book knowledge or whatever else. So instead of trying to figure it out on their own, they received on-demand videos that will walk them through various things step by step at pretty much broken down intervals. So it was easier to understand and implement versus being overwhelmed like a regular college course. When I started creating those, I set up a payment processor so people could pay me for my services and made the link available. So within my Facebook group, if you've not joined that already, there are plenty of videos that show you how to access the many Gmail features that are available to you to help you get started. There are videos talking about the various payment processors that you can use and how to set them up on social media so people can start to pay you. So there's a wealth of free knowledge in my group. If you receive the invite, the link to the group will be there for you. However, if you want hands-on assistance and access to a community of people who are trying to monetize their knowledge so they can earn more without taking more time for their family, you're definitely welcome to join my group, and I can talk more about that with you later. The journey itself takes you from finding an idea that aligns with your gifts and purposes. We definitely don't want you to try to start a business that's outside of what you're already doing. There's nothing wrong with selling clothes or purses or shoes or anything that dealing with items or a business where you have to have a storefront and overhead. However, with the pandemic, those things are harder to manage. Even with inventory, if this is your first business venture, those things are hard to keep up with as well. However, every single one of us have been through some sort of trial, some type of issue, some sort of obstacle that we've already overcome. And if you've seen some of my videos in the group, I talk about how my first program was helping teens avoid student loan debt. If you've gone to college, you have that same experience that I have. You filled out the FAFSA. You were probably confused and didn't know what to do. You probably went to people for help, and they either provided only a little bit of help or whatever they said to you was not enough information for you to really understand the impact that student loans would have on you. So I would go to local schools and just say to the guidance counselors or principals, hey, I talk to students about student loan debt. Since one of their main purposes is matriculating students on to college, they would let me come in and talk to their students. At the end of the presentation, I would offer my program. And because so many parents who had their own student loan debt or heard student loan debt stories, they were eager to sign their students up. So anybody that's going to college, anybody that's dealt with the FAFSA, you already have that knowledge available that you could do the exact same thing. However, that may not be enjoyable to you. That may not be something that you want to talk about. And the secret link that I'm going to give you at the end of the video, you'll have access to some free resources that will help you decide which business idea, which gift, which experience, or what knowledge you have that you should capitalize on that you'll actually enjoy. There's also a tutorial on how to create your own course in less than 20 minutes. And then there's also a landing page that will help you set up a site for people to go to so they can read more about what you're offering and be able to click the link to pay you. When I say, I don't want to make it seem like it's easy, but it's definitely easier than working a job you don't enjoy. It's definitely easier than going to a building or a toxic work environment. It's so much easier than rushing to get to work or being afraid to go to work because we don't know what's going to happen with the pandemic. And then regardless of where you are, schools are starting to shut down again, my own kids' school included. After being allowed to go back to school, now we're being told that we have to make arrangements for our students by December 7th, which is tomorrow, to find ways to have them virtual learn from home. It's a benefit for me because my baby was already here. Since I'm running my business from home, since I'm creating courses and programs based on the knowledge I already have, that didn't affect me because I already kept her home. But for so many people who are working, that have to go outside the home, that have to go to their job, or their kids have to go to school, they're struggling to make arrangements. Every job isn't understanding. Some jobs don't care what's going on. They need you to be there. Some jobs don't offer paid time off. So these people are really at a disadvantage at a time when we need all the resources, all the supplies, and everything available, since we don't know what the future entails. So pretty much I'm just here to tell you, if you tried to earn money outside of your job before, even if it did not work, the knowledge that you already have can ultimately turn your life around. This is no different than what colleges do. It's just a new idea because the average person doesn't think like, oh, I have enough knowledge to be a college instructor, or I have enough knowledge to the same knowledge that colleges sell. So why not try to sell and package it for myself to benefit myself? There are so many educators out there that are living check to check that could easily do this. There are college instructors just like myself who actually make less than minimum wage, even though they have so many degrees and so much student loan debt. Some college instructors only make $1,200 to $2,000 per course. On a low range, let's assume that course lasts for 6 weeks and you're making $1,200. That really only breaks down to $300 to $400 before taxes. So after you take taxes out, some people are bringing in less than $400 every 2 weeks. That's assuming, again, that the course pays $1,200. You get paid every 2 weeks for a 6-week period. That's not a lot of money. It's definitely not a lot of money after you've invested so much time into your studies and have so much student loan debt. And now this is supposed to be the good job that was going to put your family in a better financial situation, or put you in a better financial situation. It doesn't feel good. And I can say from experience, because I'm that person. I went to college to get a degree and got a job. I was unhappy with that job and that salary, so I went back to get another degree, just to end up in another situation where I was unhappy with my salary. There are only so many different degrees and certificates that you can get. So not to say that there's some conspiracy theory, but it does feel like you go to college to get a lot of debt, and then you end up working jobs that almost make it impossible for you to pay that debt off. That's not the life I wanted to live. That's not the life I wanted to pass on to my kids. That's not the life I wanted to share with any of my siblings or anyone else I encountered. So that's really the basis of how I got started, and the basis of why I believe anybody can be successful at this. The same way where people tell you go to college and get a degree, you should get a good job, the same logic applies to everybody else. Everyone has knowledge and experience. Everyone has trials and tribulations. Everyone has gone through something and made it through. Take what you've made it through, package it with the free resources that you'll get at the link that I'm about to share with you. Tell people what you're doing and start getting paid for the information that you have. If you have questions, definitely feel free to ask. Definitely join my Facebook group that was in your invite link so you can learn more tips and tricks. And if you need hands-on assistance, you can find out more about the program at the link feclique.org. That's FECLIQUE.org. And I'll also include that in the comment section. I'll open it up for questions now. And if there are none, definitely enjoy your day. But continue to think about what I said. You're already a knowledge monetizer. You're already working on a job where you're taking what you know and helping other people with it. You're working on a job where regardless if you have the information or not, you're being trained on how to handle customers, how to follow different processes, how to do whatever it is that your boss wants to train you on, and be able to do it well enough for that organization to continue making money. So if you can take what you know and do and make money for somebody else, you can do it for yourself as well. The link has been posted in the chat.